Hello and welcome back to Ash Talks Ball, and we're here for game week 2 of the EFL Championship. Thanks for checking out the game week 1 prediction video, and we'll get into it shortly. That I didn't have the best records to start off with, so we're getting off to a tough start. I added a little bit extra knowing that I had my predictions out there. I had a little bit of skin in the game, so I'm looking forward to going through these all season long. So again, I'm going to go through all 12 fixtures from game week 2 and give you my predictions on what I think will happen. We'll be using the same scoring system as last time. Hopefully I've got a few more points to tally up than I got on last week, which we're about to cover. So before we kick off with game week 2, let's have a quick look back at game week 1 and see how I did. So the only phrase I've got to describe game week 1 is absolute chaos. Obviously 2 points is a pretty awful start. Getting 2 correct results is not what I was looking for. But I can take heart because there's so many upsets, so many of the lower teams proving people, including me, wrong. We'll get into it when I talk about the specific games and the teams that did prove me wrong. But when you look at Blackburn, who are really impressive on the Friday night against Wolves, you look at Lincoln put up a great fight against Middlesbrough where they thought they were going to get a point. You look at Charlton, who had a really impressive home win against Derby. You look at Burnley with 2 late goals to get a point against West Ham. Watford with a fantastic performance at home to Southampton. All results I did not see coming, and as you can see, 2 points ain't going to cut the mustard. So that's the review for game week 1. We're going to put that behind me, and I want to try and do a lot better for game week 2. So let's get into it. Game week 2, EFL Championship. Let's predict. We are kicking off with 3 12:30 games on Saturday for this week in the Championship, and the first one is at St Andrews, where Birmingham will host Bristol City. Birmingham, a 0-0 draw on the opening day at Bramall Lane. A good result, but they will feel hard done by. I think it was pretty clear that Birmingham were the team pressing. They had the better chances and a real good opportunity for them to get a win to start their season. But I don't think you'll ever be too disappointed with the point on the road at Bramall Lane on the opening day. I think it's a good solid start for Birmingham. Bristol City, on the other hand, obviously the early red card really did not help, especially when they're going up against such a strong team like Millwall. It was just going to make an impossible challenge. So to fall 2-0 at home, real disappointing start for Bristol City. So we do have to take the red card into account when it comes to looking at the result. Randa will obviously be missing this fixture for the 2 yellows. So we'll see who Bristol City brings in to replace him. Difficult spot for Bristol City here. St Andrews is always a tough place to go. Their home form last season was very impressive, and it's what kept them moving towards that top half finish, which they did end up getting. So it's going to be a real difficult task for Bristol City here. Back-to-back defeats would be a real tough start for Skabala. But like I said last week, it's going to take some time for him to impart his style, and Bristol City will be stronger in the months to come. So I'll go for a home win here. I think Birmingham were pretty comfortable, but I think the final scoreline will be quite tight. I'll go for 2-1 to Birmingham. So this would mean 4 points for the first 2 from Birmingham, so a real good return for them and a good platform for their season. Bristol City can't lose heart or patience. It's a long season, but back-to-back defeats would be pretty tough. But I'll go for Birmingham 2, Bristol City 1, and Birmingham up and running properly. Next up, we are going to Sincil Bank for Lincoln City against Portsmouth. Really intriguing fixture here. Lincoln put up a really good show of themselves at the Riverside, falling to a late defeat to Middlesbrough. Their first home fixture back in the Championship for a long old time. The atmosphere is going to be really good. Every time I've been to Sincil Bank, back in Ipswich League 1 days, it was always a good atmosphere. So I can only imagine this is going to be a really good atmosphere. And I'm sure the Portsmouth fans who always travel well and in good voice will add to that atmosphere. Portsmouth, a real disappointing home defeat at home to QPR. I think QPR are going to be a good side this season. I've spoke a lot about their young core, who, if everything ticks, I think it could be a real successful season for QPR, who I had them finishing around that mid-table mark. But Fratton Park had to be a fortress if Portsmouth are going to make the step up to being a real consolidated Championship side in their 3rd season back in the division. So a home loss on the opening day, which ended up being pretty comfortable. That one's going to sting for Massinho and the Portsmouth fans. Lincoln will have to butter their bread at home. They know that. But they have some serious momentum to kick on from the Carabao Cup win at Pride Park and then a real good battle at the Riverside. Lincoln should have their tails up. I go for a home win here, a very narrow game, small margins. Maybe two teams try not to lose. Portsmouth won't want to lose back-to-back fixtures, that's for sure. And Lincoln will want to get on the board. But a really good opportunity for Lincoln to get going in front of their home fans. I'll go for a tight, narrow 1-0 home victory, which will be a fantastic result for Lincoln to get their first win back in the Championship. Would mean back-to-back defeats for Portsmouth and a real sticky start, and that'll put them behind the 8 ball from the start of the season. But I'll go for Lincoln 1, Portsmouth 0, and a real fantastic result for Lincoln to get their home season going. The final lunchtime kickoff of the day is probably the most intriguing fixture of the weekend, and that is Millwall against Norwich at the Den. Millwall, great start to the season, really efficient, effective performance away at Bristol City against 10 men, comfortable 2-0 win, great for them to get off. There has been some rumours about Aziz this week, so we'll see if those lead to anything between now and the end of the window, something to keep an eye on. Norwich, a disappointing home defeat. They would have been looking to make Carrow Road a real fortress this season, which they did towards the end of last season. And for the whole, they were the stronger team against West Brom. They just did not take their chances. They were not clinical. But West Brom got the 2 goals. Obviously had a bit of a hand, literally, from the referee. But a real disappointing start for Norwich against a West Brom team who could end up being pretty good. But we'll see how West Brom go on throughout the season. A real tricky trip this for Norwich, going to Millwall. Never an easy place to go, but they did win there towards the end of the season, last season. So they can take heart in that. That was a good performance from them. I do remember watching that game. Obviously, I was pretty invested in Millwall's results coming up to the end of last season. So Norwich can take heart that they know that they can go to the Den and get the win. Millwall should be full of confidence after their opening day. Norwich looking to prove a point. I think it's going to be a hard-fought draw. 2 good teams going at it. And I think this could be a pretty good point for either side. I'll go for 1-1. There could be more goals in this, especially with the attacking talent on display. But really looking forward to watching this game. I think it's going to be a good tussle between 2 good teams. And I'll go for Millwall 1, Norwich 1. Millwall with a win and a draw to start, and Norwich getting the first point on the board. On to the Saturday 3 o'clock kickoffs, and we start at Ewood Park, where Blackburn are hosting Middlesbrough. Blackburn put a really good performance on that opening Friday night at Wolves. They were very, very unlucky not to get the win. I think it probably is a penalty. I think the hand is just inside the box. Real disappointing for Ali Biasu, who had such a good game and was proven why I put him in my Championship pre-season dream team. But then obviously just the mental mistake to put his hand out there, and it happens. But a really impressive display by Blackburn up until that point. They would have deserved the win, absolutely no doubt about that. Mowbray has obviously instilled a confidence in the team, and he's got them set up in a way where they can use their assets wisely. Ali Biasu was fantastic for most of the game. He was a real threat down that right-hand side. And I know it's only 1 week and it's the opening day, so you can't put too much stock into it. But maybe I was a bit wrong about Blackburn. They probably have a stronger chance to stay up than what I originally envisioned. Middlesbrough got the job done. That's what needed. Opening days can always be tough, especially against a just promoted side. If that was Middlesbrough last season, they would have lost that game 1-0. The signing of Will Lancashire is absolutely massive. He's already proven that with 2 goals in the league, 1 in the cup. So he's got all 3 of their goals so far this season. So if he continues like that, I think Middlesbrough are likely to get automatic promotion, which I predicted at the start of the season. I'm going to go for a narrow away win here. I did think about flipping this and giving Blackburn a win because I was so impressed with their performance against Wolves. To have Wolves away, Middlesbrough's home as your first 2 games is a real tough start for Blackburn. So the fact that they've got 1 point on the board already and the potential to get more could be a real positive start for Blackburn. But I've got Middlesbrough getting all 3 points with a 2-1 victory here. 2 wins from 2 for Middlesbrough. They've absolutely dominated the transfer window. They did confirm the signing of Ashley Phillips. So once he's fully integrated into the squad, their defence should improve even more than what it already has. So I'll go for Blackburn 1, Middlesbrough 2, a good game. Blackburn can take heart from their start of the season with 2 really hard fixtures, but Middlesbrough will be delighted with 6 points from 6. Next, we head to Pride Park for Derby hosting Cardiff City. Real disappointing start for Derby. Taking the lead against Charlton, against a team who I expect to struggle this season. You'd expect them to go on to win that game. The second half was a bit of collapse, something I do not expect from John Eustace's sides. So I expect him to have had them training really hard this week in the meeting rooms, on the training pitch, to try and fix that situation. Big game for Derby, first home game. They need to get back on track. Not getting any wins out of the first 2 games for a side who I expect to get playoffs. It's not an ideal situation. Cardiff coming off a high. Obviously not a great performance. I was very intrigued to watch that game. And it went pretty much as I expected. I was worried about Wrexham style being a bit of an issue for Cardiff, which it did prove. I went for a 1-0 home win that time, and it was very nearly the 1-0 away win, which I nearly went for. A really special moment for Colwill and the Cardiff fans. Got a draw on the opening day. So they'll be coming into this fixture on a high after rescuing that point. But I think this will be a difficult spot for Cardiff. The fans are going to be demanding a win, and I think they'll get it here. I'll go for 2-0 Derby, so relatively comfortable. Cardiff still coming off of that high of getting that last gasp goal, and Derby needing the win. So I'll go for Derby 2, Cardiff 0, Derby back on track, Cardiff still with work to do. Next up we have Preston hosting Wolves. Preston, probably one of my most disappointing performances of the game week 1. The first half was a complete and utter no-show against Bolton. 2-0 down at half-time. They didn't really put up a fight until the last 10 minutes, where they got 1 goal back and were looking to push for another. But really, really disappointing from Preston. They are still trying to get business done. They've signed Harry Clark to play right back, which was a huge problem area against Bolton. Thierry Gale absolutely dominating Valentin at right back. But getting Clark in there should prove an upgrade for them. But very disappointing with Preston, and they'll be looking to answer. They couldn't have asked for a much trickier tie here than having Wolves come to town. Obviously, Wolves won't be happy with themselves, having to rely on a late penalty to get a draw at home to Blackburn. There are positive signs for Wolves. You can see the style that the manager is wanting to play. They're wanting to play a high press, aggressive style of football with attractive passing and dangerous attacks. That kind of style could take some time to get used to, but I think this is a real good time to play Preston, as they're still getting players into the squad and still integrating. So I'll go for a Wolves win here. I'll go for a 2-0 win for Wolves here at Deepdale to really get their season started in earnest. Back-to-back defeats for Preston is a real tough start to the season, especially losing your first home game. But Wolves are obviously going to be one of the stronger teams in the league. They've got some real quality players, and I do expect them to click relatively soon. So tough start for Preston. Preston 0, Wolves 2, Wolves up and running as they start their promotion push in earnest. Next is a fixture between 2 of the opening day winners, which is QPR hosting Bolton. 2 fan bases which will be really happy. QPR with a really impressive away win at Portsmouth on the opening day. 3-1, looked like a good, fluid attacking team. Elias Chair is always going to be a threat at this level. And with the youngsters around him, QPR really could be in for a good season. And an away win in a difficult stadium is a great way to start. Bolton, first home game back in the Championship 2019, a really comfortable win against Preston. Obviously, the scoreline does look close at the end, but the first half was complete domination. Preston only came into it in the last 10-15 minutes, and so overall, Bolton pretty comfortable. Thierry Gale was a real threat down that left-hand side, so he's going to be a real important asset for Bolton throughout the rest of the season. So both fan bases are coming into this game real excited, really happy where this season could lead them to. I'm going to go for a home win here for QPR to continue their momentum here with their first home win of the season. I'll go for 1-0. I think it's going to be a tight game. Bolton showed that they do have a pretty good solid foundation to build on from the back. So I don't think they'll concede too many goals this season. But I think QPR with their young attacking core should have just a bit too much and should be able to get back-to-back wins for the home side, which would be a great start for their season. So I'll go for QPR 1, Bolton 0. 6 points from 6 for QPR and a really solid foundation for them to really push on, which could be a successful season for QPR. Off to St Mary's, where we have Southampton hosting Stoke. We need an answer from Southampton. That was a completely flat performance, especially in the first half at Watford. Found themselves 2-0 down pretty early. The second half substitutions did help and they managed to get a goal back, but Watford were fully deserving of the win. Southampton could have no complaints. I did say at the start of the season there's going to be a lot of questions about Southampton, and I did expect them to be answered. We're going to learn about Tondre Eckert. Obviously, with the Spygate situation going on, we don't know how good of a manager he is right now. So he's got questions to answer, and the defeat away at Watford on the opening day really does not help. But they're going up against Stoke, who had a disappointing home loss against Swansea. I do expect Swansea to be a good team this season. Obviously, I got them in the playoffs. But like I always say, it's disappointing to lose at home on the opening day, and that's no different for Stoke. They couldn't have asked for a much trickier fixture to try and get themselves right. An angry Southampton side, away from home, who need to put on a good performance in front of their fans, especially after the end of last season. So a real tricky spot for Stoke, who are still looking to invest. It looks like they are going to get the George Hurst deal done, and they're going to get Ben Johnson on loan as well from Ipswich, so he'll be a real good addition at right back. Ben Johnson played a real important part down the stretch for Ipswich promotion last season, so that's a real good addition for Stoke. But this isn't going to be Stoke's final form yet, and a real tricky spot for Southampton, so I can only go for a home win here. I'll go for a narrow 2-1 Southampton win. I don't think Southampton are going to be at their full force yet. They're still growing into the season. But it's difficult for me to see Stoke getting a result here, in which is a real tricky fixture against a team who's really going to need to get their season up and running, especially with the -4 point deduction that they're still sitting on -4. So I'll go for Southampton 2, Stoke 1, and Southampton finally starting to put a dent in that -4 points tally. We head to the Liberty for Swansea City hosting Sheffield United. A real impressive start to the season for Swansea. They get the win at Stoke. It's going to take a real strong home form to be the crux of their promotion push for Swansea. So getting as many points on the road is going to be crucial, and to get a win at Stoke on the opening day, fantastic start for Swansea. Sheffield United, they pretty much hold on for a 0-0 at home to Birmingham. If anyone was going to win that game, it was going to be Birmingham. So Sheffield United, they've got to take the point and move on. A difficult week for Sheffield United. Obviously, there's talks about a minus 12-point deduction. It's not looking great for Sheffield United. All the news and rumours coming out of there just is not positive, and it could be a real good time for Swansea to play them and get off to a good start in front of their home fans. And it is at the Liberty where they're going to have to build their promotion campaign. So I'll go for Swansea to get back-to-back wins here. I'll go for Swansea 2, Sheffield United 1. A close game. Sheffield United are going to be competitive in most games. They do have a squad full of Championship talent, but this is a tough spot. Swansea should be full of confidence, and the vibes around Sheffield United just aren't there right now. So I'll go for Swansea 2, Sheffield United 1, and Swansea with back-to-back wins as they start their push for the playoffs. Off to the London Stadium we go for West Ham against Charlton for the All-London clash for West Ham's first Championship home game in quite some time. Obviously, I was very bullish on West Ham. Last week I said I don't think there'd be too many down points for West Ham in the season, and then of course they get one straight away in game week 1. 2-0 up against Burnley late on in the game. Real disappointment they couldn't see it out. Obviously Burnley are a team coming down from the Premier League as well, so they're going to be one of the stronger away tests. But when you're 2-0 up, comfortable, no real danger in sight, to drop points there, it's a rough start for West Ham. I don't think it'll hold them back too much. Obviously their squad is incredibly talented, and it's getting even more talented. Joel Peru joins on loan from Leeds, and Peru has always been guaranteed goals at this level, whether it be at Swansea or at Leeds. So I don't think that blow will hold West Ham back, and they'll be looking to get off to a real fast start, especially at home. Charlton had a fantastic home win to start off with against Derby. I did not see that one coming, especially when Derby took the lead through Smodics. But Charlton showed they're going to be a typical Nathan Jones team. They're going to fight, they're going to claw, and they're going to get their fair share of results. That home win obviously does give them a bit of leeway, because they're not going to expect to go to West Ham and get much at all. So I'll go for a comfortable West Ham win here. I'll go for 3-0. Not many teams are going to go to the London Stadium and expect to get anything. That's going to be a very few amount of teams. So Charlton, they've got their home win under the belt. That's where they're going to do most of their damage this season. And I won't say it's a free hit, but it's going to be a difficult challenge, and anything you can get from here, Charlton will take. But I'll go for West Ham 3, Charlton 0, and West Ham up and running at the second attempt. And the final 3 o'clock Saturday game this week, we head to Wales for Wrexham against Watford. Wrexham had done all the hard work against Cardiff, but they just could not see it out, and in the end they had to settle for a 1-1 draw. Not ideal, but not the end of the world for Wrexham in what was always going to be a difficult atmosphere to play in. So they'll take their point, and then they move on at home where they face Watford, who is one of the surprise packages of the opening weekend. A really impressive performance from Watford. They were the much better team in the first half against Southampton, went in to the break deservedly 2-0 up and managed to see it out. So maybe Watford has done it again. They've plucked a manager from Italy and he's just going to be absolutely fantastic, and Watford are going to have a strong season. Another tough test for Watford here. Never easy place to go. Wrexham are going to rely on their home form to do most of their damage this season. But from the opening day, Watford showed they're going to be no pushovers, and on their day will be a difficult opponent for anyone. I'll go for a tight game here. I'll go for a 1-1 draw. Watford will be delighted with 4 points from the opening 6. Wrexham with back-to-back draws, not ideal, but something to build off. But I'll go for Wrexham 1, Watford 1, and a fair draw between two good teams. And to round off the game week, we have one fixture on Sunday, and that is West Brom hosting Burnley. West Brom obviously will be delighted with their start to the season, getting a win at Carrow Road. The stats obviously show that Norwich had most of the game, but West Brom will not care in the slightest, and obviously the controversial goal will help them too. Burnley should be coming to this game on a complete high after rescuing a point at home to West Ham. 2-0 down in the last 10 minutes to get a point. Fantastic against the obvious league favourites. So Burnley will be absolutely delighted with that, and they should be looking to push on for the rest of the season. Obviously, I made a big deal about how Burnley's off-season was not ideal and they're going to be behind the 8 ball. But maybe that galvanising feeling after getting a draw, after being 2-0 down to West Ham, could push them a little bit quicker than what I originally planned. So I'll go for Burnley to get a win here on the road. I'll go for 1-0. West Brom will be looking to defend their home court like they did so well under Morrison at the end of last season. But Burnley do have quality. They still have Zian Fleming, who I did put in my dream team, so that was one of the calls I did get right through game week 1. They still have him in their team. I'm expecting some more rumours to come out for teams to be linked with him, because he really should not be playing in the Championship this season. But while they do, Burnley should be a pretty strong team. So my final prediction of the week is West Brom 0, Burnley 1, and Burnley can be very happy with 4 points from their first 6 available. So those are my predictions for game week 2 of the Championship season. Let's hope for more than 2 points than what I got in my opening prediction week. Fingers crossed for that. Game week 1 was absolute chaos. So let's hope game week 2 goes to more to script and I can actually get some points on the board. So thanks for watching. As always, love making these prediction videos, and I'm going to enjoy doing them out throughout the season. So thanks for watching, and once again, thanks for talking ball with me. See you next time.